Mr. President, I come to the floor today to introduce a bill to honor the late Robert L. Brown of Thermopolis, Wyoming. Robert Brown was a lifelong resident of Thermopolis, Wyoming, and he exemplified Wyoming's values and a commitment to public service. After graduating from Thermopolis High School, Bob was inducted into the Army in 1944, and he served in both the Europe and the Pacific theaters. Later, in 1950, when he was part of the National Guard, Bob deployed to Korea, where he was a member of the 300th Armored Field Artillery Battalion. He served in World War II in both theaters and then Korea. The United States was poorly prepared for Korea, downsizing the military after the Second World War. The National Guard responded with little or no training or equipment. Bob Brown went to another war. He earned a unit citation, he received the Combat Infantry Badge, and the Purple Heart. Upon returning to Thermopolis, Bob began a career with the United States Postal Service. That career spanned 44 years, including many years as postmaster. I hope John will tell more of the postal love affair and how Bob Brown met and courted the person who picked up the mail. That lady later became my first Sunday school teacher. Bob passed away earlier this month. At 94 years of age, he did have some health issues, but he had a devoted daughter, Bobbie Brown Barrasso, wife of Senator Barrasso, who had been Senator Thomas's state director. She was her dad's caregiver. She took care of him in Casper as well as Thermopolis. She drove him back and forth wherever he wanted or needed to go, which meant especially back and forth to needed clinics with doctors in Thermopolis and in Casper. When COVID happened, she stayed with him and protected him. Bob Brown will be sorely missed in his community, and I can think of no better way to honor someone with such a long and storied career with the United States Postal Service, as well as with the people of Thermopolis, than to introduce this bill to name the Thermopolis Post Office after him. That historic building holds the memories of a veteran who came home to work and spent his entire career in that building, winding up as postmaster. The lead Democratic co-sponsor of this bipartisan bill is Senator Tom Carper, who is the strongest advocate I know of for the United States Postal Service. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
I want to thank my our colleague, Senator Enzi, for allowing me to be his wingman in this particular postal naming bill. I never met Robert L. Brown. I certainly know his daughter, Bobbie, and I certainly know his son-in-law, John Barrasso, our colleague. And just listening to what Senator Enzi has said, service in World War II, service in the Korean War, service in U.S. Postal Service. That is a lifetime of service. That is a lifetime of service. My own family, we've been, my dad, my uncles all served in World War II, a number in Korea as well. Cousin, U.S. Postal Service for many years. And I like to say, I don't know if this is original to me, but service to others is the rent we pay for the space we take up on this earth. Think about that. Service to others is the rent we pay for the space we take up on this earth. And I would say to Robert L. Brown, if you're listening, I think you probably are, thank you for your extraordinary service. And thank you for Bobbie. And we want to thank Bobbie, your daughter, Mr. Brown, for sharing her husband with us, a good man. And it's a good package. And we're grateful for that. None of us can live forever. Senator Barrasso was telling me, gosh, not even a month ago, about driving his father-in-law. I think it was like, I don't know, 400 miles or something from Wyoming up to maybe Montana for medical attention, medical care. I thought, what an extraordinary act of love and kindness. And but it was really, you know, I don't think his death was imminent at the time, but it was a great opportunity, I bet, for the two of them to just renew and bond one more time. So that is sad to say goodbye, None of us can live forever, though. And then for those who live lives of service, like Bobby's dad, we just say, especially Navy and Navy talk. I'm retired Navy captain, Vietnam veteran. But in the Navy, we like to say that folks in the Army, different uniforms, same team. And when folks do extraordinary things in service to our country, whether it's in uniform of the Army or whether it's in uniform of the Navy or the Postal Service, we say bravo, Zulu. Bravo, Zulu. Thank you for allowing me to join you. Thanks so much.
Mr. President.
Senator for Wyoming.
Well, first, Mr. President, I'd like to express my deep appreciation and admiration and respect for both Senator Enzi and Senator Carper for introducing this legislation to honor Bob Brown. And there he is. This is actually a picture of this, and I'm next to him. And I mean, you look at that smile, and that's a smile. You know, it's as beautiful as a sunrise, as welcoming as a rainbow. What a wonderful man. He was known by many in Thermopolis as Bob Brown, the nicest guy in town. And it was his hometown, and he stayed with him for high school, 1943. And this greatest generation, and both Mike and Tom, as veterans, having worn the uniform, borne the battle, know that we're losing the greatest generation so rapidly. What a generation. World War II, the European theater, the Pacific theater, returning home, working the post office, and as Senator Enzi said, he was a postal clerk, and there was a young lady, Jerry Lynn, who worked at the local bank, and she would come every day to pick up the mail. Caught his eye, she caught his eye, he caught her eye, and they lived and married and were together for 70 years. 70 years, two wonderful children, Mike Brown, my wife Bobby, and a granddaughter who really was the apple of their eye, Hadley. But this group, these are World War II, and then Korea, as the senators both mentioned, the Korean War, Bob was part of the 300s, the Cowboy Cannoneers. An incredible group, unit bravery citation. I mean, he was awarded the Purple Heart. Never talked about it, very humble, returned to Thermopolis, just took care of people in the community to the point of serving as a postmaster for many of his 44 years at the post office. So people knew him, loved him, admired him. I know that Mike had a chance to talk to the postmaster in Thermopolis yesterday about what we were going to do. She had actually known Bob as anyone in town had, and was very grateful for having known him. Last year, Bob and Jerry celebrated their 70th wedding anniversary, and we lost Jerry this spring, and now on 9/11, we lost Bob. He passed away at the age of 94. He was surrounded by his loving family, and his daughter, Bobby, truly, as Senator Enzi said, the caregiver. As I say, she is a saint. People who know her know that to be true. But as we talk about this greatest generation, of which Bob was a very significant part, we can think back to the history of this country. And Mr. President, in the chair, you're a Marine, and you know this. It reminds me of the speech that Abraham Lincoln gave when he was first year as president at the White House. And there was on the 4th of July a flag-raising ceremony, and he gave a very short speech. And the speech that Lincoln gave that day was, "It is my job to raise the flag." And then to everyone else there, he said, "And it is your job to keep it up." Like you, Mr. President, like you, Senator Enzi, you, Senator Carper, Bob Brown was one to keep it up. And since we have bipartisan co-sponsors and sponsors of this legislation, let me then talk about John Kennedy, who in his inaugural talked about this nation being willing to pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, and oppose any foe. That's Bob Brown, all-American. Ronald Reagan talked about the fact that freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. Not something that we inherit in the bloodstream. It's something that has to be fought for, protected, defended, and then handed down to the next generation to do the same. And that's Bob Brown. And this year is Wyoming's 130th birthday. turned 130 this summer. So 30 years ago, we celebrated the 100th anniversary of Wyoming, and George Herbert Walker Bush, then President of the United States, came to Wyoming to talk about Wyoming and its history. And he said, Wyoming is a very special and sacred place. And he said, the values and the visions of Wyoming continue to inspire America. Well, Bob Brown's values and his visions continue to inspire everyone who was ever privileged to know him. May he rest in peace.